Mr. Madison, in earlier essays you argued that we need distinct branches that are not wholly unconnected, number 47, that paper barriers alone won't hold them apart, number 48, and that we can't repair every breach by running back to the people, number 49, or by rewriting the whole frame at frequent conventions, number 50. Given that setup, what actually keeps the parts of government separate in practice?
You have the right of it. The question now is by what expedient we maintain the necessary partition of power. My answer is this. Since exterior provisions prove inadequate, the interior structure must be so contrived that the parts, by their mutual relations, keep one another in their proper places.
So not just rules on parchment, but a design that makes the pieces check each other as they operate?
Precisely. Allow me a few general observations to make the point plain.
Let's begin with independence. How do you give each department a real will of its own?
First, lessen their dependence upon one another in the making of officers. Ideally, members of one department should have as little hand as possible in appointing those of another. If we could do it perfectly, each would be drawn from the people through channels that do not mingle.
In principle, separate fountains of appointment. But in practice?
In practice, some deviations must be admitted. The judiciary, for example, requires particular qualifications. Therefore, we tolerate a mode of choice that best secures those talents. And once appointed for permanent tenure, a judge's independence soon grows beyond any sense of obligation to the appointing power.
Appointment is one lever. What about pay and day-to-day dependence?
That also must be separated. If the executive or the judges depend on the legislature for their emoluments, their independence is but nominal. A branch that holds another's purse holds its liberty.
And the enforcing mechanism for all this is human virtue?
We dare not presume upon virtue alone. The great security is to connect the interest of the man with the constitutional rights of the place. In short, ambition must be made to counteract ambition. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. Since they are not, we must both enable the government to control the governed and oblige it to control itself.
Primary control is still the people, yes?
Undoubtedly, the people are the primary control. Yet experience teaches the necessity of auxiliary precautions. Divide offices, counterpoise powers, and arrange interests so that private motives stand guard over public rights.
But the branches aren't equal in strength. In a republic, the legislature looms largest. How do you prevent it from swallowing the rest?
By dividing the legislature itself, and by giving the chambers different sources of election and different principles of action. Meanwhile, the naturally weaker executive must be fortified.
Fortified with what? An absolute veto.
An absolute negative appears at first the natural defense, yet it is neither altogether safe nor sufficient. Too weak in ordinary times, liable to abuse in extraordinary ones. Better a qualified connection. A conditional veto that can be overridden by a supermajority in institutional ties, especially with the weaker branch of the stronger department, so that each helps maintain the other's constitutional rights.
You also say the federal system adds something special to these checks. What are the two features you have in mind?
First, the compound republic. In a single republic, power surrendered by the people is administered by a single government, guarded only by the division into departments. In America, that power is first divided between two governments, national and state, and then each is subdivided within. Thus arises a double security. The governments control each other, and each controls itself.
Checks across and within levels. Federalism, plus separation of powers.
Just so.
And the second feature?
It is not enough to guard against the oppression of rulers. We must also guard one part of society against the injustice of another. Different classes and interests inevitably exist. If a majority unites upon a common interest, the rights of the minority are endangered.
Two remedies then. Install an authority independent of the people, or multiply interests, so unjust majorities are unlikely?
That is the distinction. The first, an independent will above the people, may shield minorities for a time, but is a precarious security, for such a power may espouse the unjust views of the many as readily as the just claims of the few. The second is our choice. Extend the sphere so society is broken into many parts and combinations. Then oppressive coalitions are hard to form and harder to hold.
You even extend the logic to religion. Many sects mean more liberty.
Exactly. In civil rights as in religious rights, multiplicity is a bulwark. The larger the territory and the greater the number of interests and sects, the stronger the safeguard. Carving the union into smaller confederacies would facilitate, not frustrate, oppressive combinations.
Which leaves the end or purpose of it all. QQQ.
Justice is the end of government, the end of civil society. We shall pursue it until we obtain it, or lose liberty in the pursuit. Where a strong faction can readily unite and oppress the weaker, anarchy and insecurity follow. Even the powerful, from fear of retaliation and instability, will come to desire a government that protects all.
So you're not elevating an elite above the people. You're designing a system where unjust majorities are improbable, correction is constant, and liberty is safer in a large, well-constructed republic. QQQ.
Precisely. A properly extended and federated republic, armed with checks and balances and divided powers, is most capable of self-government and most likely to secure the rights of every class of citizens.